Hard and lift. Coming down.
All set?
Okay.
Well, hello. Here we go again. Another Leslie Davis Earth Protector show. Can you believe it? And if not for my buddy, Kelvin Burns. Remember Kelvin Burns? There he is.
How you doing?
Look at that smile. There he is. Hollywood Burns, we call him. Kelvin Burns. And we're going to be together for this show. We're going to talk about the politicians. Give you a little direction if you're going to talk about who's running for office, you know, who the people are going to vote for. So what we have is, we've got my shot, got Donald Trump running for President of the United States. What do you think of that, Kelvin? Donald Trump?
Well, Donald Trump, he's interesting. I think that Donald Trump says what's on his mind, and he says things that a lot of other politicians are scared to say. I don't agree with everything he says. In fact, a lot of things he says is quite crazy. He's talking about building a wall so the Mexicans won't be able to come across. And
And then he said one day when a president of Mexico said, F the wall,
right.
He said, well, now we're going to make it 10 feet tall.
Right. But the thing is about Trump, what he doesn't understand, Texas, L.A., Phoenix, Utah, New Mexico, to be a New Mexico, had to be an old Mexico that once belonged to the Mexicans. So
yeah, but he's not going to get into that or something, you know.
Right.
Who it belongs to.
Right, but they just moved their line back. So Mexicans really are not foreigners.
We're all Mexicans. So Donald Trump, let's say, a billionaire businessman.
Right.
How's he going to do, you think, for the black people? He'll probably do good because you're going to talk about jobs, you know, and black people want jobs, or do they want jobs?
Well, they want jobs.
They want jobs.
But I would like to talk to Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton and what's the other guy, Bernie Sanders?
Well, Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders, Cruz and the other guy.
Cruz, we got Rubio.
Rubio.
We got Kasich. Let me go through them a moment here. Let's see what we got. We'll talk about the Republicans first.
Right.
We got Donald Trump.
Okay.
John Kasich. He's the governor of Ohio.
Okay.
John Kasich. And he's smart. He's the guy I like, really.
Right.
John Kasich. We got Marco Rubio. I don't know about Marco. He's a senator, you know. I don't know that he's ever done anything. They like him in Minnesota. They voted for him, the Minnesota Republicans. And then we got Ted Cruz.
Right. Correct.
Trump's been fighting with Ted Cruz. He calls him a big liar and all of that kind of stuff. But Trump, you know, he's got kind of a quick mouth. Call people liars and things like that. But
he's an interesting character.
Interesting character, and he might be what the country needs.
Well, one thing about the Democrats, when they kick you, they rub you and say it's going to be all right. And Republicans, when they kick you, they just keep stomping you. So it's really not too much different between a Republican and a Democrat. And in the black community, what they don't understand, Republicans got their dick in their ass, and the Democrats got their dick in their mouth. So the Democrats and the Republicans are running a train on the black community. So it's you know, the thing is, it really don't matter who really get in office, because things really haven't changed since Obama got in there. I mean, we get killed more than ever now.
Well, it's not so much that the black people are having a problem. It's kind of the middle class, or the middle class, or the poor people and stuff. And
what's the poor people?
Poor people are always
Period.
going to have a problem, you know?
Right.
No matter who's in office. I mean, they're not going to get on poor.
Well, the thing I don't understand is how President Obama going to bring in 10,000 people from Syria,
That don't make sense.
and we have blacks, whites, Native Americans hungry and laying under bridges and no place to go,
Yeah.
and cold, and you bringing in people from these far-off countries that really hate America's guts, and the people that's American citizens, they outside starving or outside freezing to death.
Uh-huh.
So I don't understand, you know.
Doesn't
that-
make sense.
It doesn't make sense, you know.
We're making sense here. Look at what we got. We got our American flag. We stand for America. And we don't use the one with the gold fringe. You know, that's kind of like the flag of the Admiralty. And we got Jesse Ventura on the corner, the crybaby, because he says, Jesse, you've been getting a lot of publicity lately. I don't know if you see it, but online he's getting a lot of publicity. And he says that Bernie Sanders doesn't win or something, he's going to run in a third party, maybe in the Libertarian Party. But a third party can't win in this country, I don't believe.
Libertarian, is that more like the Independent Party?
Sort of. What I'm concerned about, they're talking about the lead up in Michigan, you know, the lead poisoning up in
Flint.
Flint, Michigan.
Right,
Well, Michigan, that's where you're from.
right. Well, what had happened, Flint was getting their water from Detroit. And then the governor got cheap and it started getting the water from the Flint River, which is poison. Okay?
Where was the Detroit water coming from?
Well, the Detroit water is not poison. In fact, they said Detroit has some of the best water in the country.
It does, huh? Yeah.
But Flint River,
Yeah.
the water actually looks like shit.
So what were they doing, getting the water from that river? Who was doing that? Lack of thinking.
Well, the governor was, you know, cutting corners and killing people by letting that water come through. Yeah.
Well, the problem with the lead, when children get it, it affects what they call the neurons in the brain, and it makes it more difficult for them to learn. So we've seen studies, you know, I was with the Lead Coalition, we helped form that in the 80s, the Lead Coalition in Minnesota,
Okay.
where we think most of the lead comes from. We know it's coming from the windows going up and down in the houses.
Right.
And the kids sitting in the window well, and when they get a taste of the lead, they like it because it's got kind of a sweet
taste.
taste to it. But when you're outside and you're playing ball, that lead been deposited from gasoline, when they used leaded gasoline, over all the years.
Right.
And it's in the soil alongside the houses and the grass, and it doesn't go away. Lead doesn't disappear.
And I was also told that a lot of the pipes in Flint, Michigan are lead pipes. They haven't been changed over.
Yeah, well, if the pipe isn't lead, the solder that they put the pipes together with are lead. But when the kid's outside playing ball, you know, they're always seeing, touching the thing, you know, throw it in the
Exactly.
hand to mouth, and you got dust and dirt and lead is on the ball.
Exactly.
And they get it in their mouth. So why are they not talking about it in Minneapolis, in the schools, that the kids are lead poisoned and having difficulty learning? And the reason they don't is because it is, again, like most things, poor inner-city neighborhoods are affected with the
Right.
lead poisoning.
Right.
And that's where the pollution and the bad diet and all of that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
And that always happened, I think, for
Well-
the poor people.
Well, also, a lot of the toys they're getting over from China and Japan has lead in it.
Right,
And they're
right.
killing the kids.
right.
See, yeah?
Well, not killing them, but what they're doing is it's like killing them, you know, you damage
Their brains.
somebody's brain. But I'd like to kind of spend a minute talking about John Kasich.
Okay.
He was in, you don't know much about him, a lot of people don't, because he hasn't had a chance to talk. But when you hear him talk about the budget and when he was in the Congress and governor of Ohio and all of that, he's really a smart guy.
Okay.
So maybe he'll start getting a little more attention now. Trump, you know, he's a kind of a showboater.
Oh, yeah.
He's got all his life, you know, he's had all those cute girls. You see that list of women that he's been with his whole life?
Oh, he's a playboy.
He's a playboy, and he
All right.
used to run, maybe he still does, runs those beauty pageants. So
Okay.
he's got all this activity. coming by him. All the girlies, and he's a playboy, Donald Trump.
Well, the thing is, I would like to ask Donald Trump and all the candidates, even Hillary Clinton, how do they feel about reparation?
Reparations for the black people, for them being used as slaves to
400 years of
make America rich.
Exactly.
Uh-huh. What about reparations? What would reparations be? What would they give everybody? They're not going to give them 40 acres and a mule that they used to talk about.
Well, that debt
If you have
is
40 acres in Manhattan, that would be
right,
that would be okay, and you could keep the mule. I'll take the 40 acres.
but the debt has went up since then.
Yeah, but they're not going to get that.
No, but
What are they asking for? Are they asking for anything now? I don't hear much talk about it.
well, I would ask for money, but I would also ask for land that doesn't have toxic waste on it. You need farmland. You need schools, hospitals.
So if you get a couple, say you got a family and they got a little house and they got 2, 3 kids, what would you offer them? 50,000 or 500,000 or something? What would they need to?
50,000 wouldn't take you around the block hardly.
Wouldn't get you off the block.
No.
Uh-huh. So what they need, 400,000 or 500,000? How much a person do you think? Have you ever put the pencil to paper or thought about it?
Well, if they didn't want to settle and give us reparation, they could give us casinos like they did the natives. I don't know if the casinos would be a good idea, but I'm just saying something to say that I'm sorry, that I apologize. Because
Well, they're not sorry and they don't want to apologize, but
Well, the thing-
if they could give them some money.
what the thing is, all these other people that comes from Somalia, Ethiopia, and all these other places, they living off the black Americans' blood. If it wasn't for us, probably would nobody be allowed to come over here. So they're living off our blood.
They're living off what?
They're living off the black Americans' blood. See, a Somalian or Ethiopian, he has a place to come live before he gets here. But you have black Americans and Native Americans and even white folks can't get a place to stay. I was just passing by Simpson Housing and seeing all these black and white people and Native Americans lining up in front of a church going down there in the shelter, and that shouldn't be.
Yeah. That's the city of Minneapolis?
City of
job, or
Minneapolis.
Whose job is it? The city of Minneapolis, the county, the federal government?
Well, we ought to talk with the federal government, but like I was saying, a reparation wouldn't be a bad idea.
Well, the question would be, who gets how much?
Well,
What do you give a little kid that's 3 years old?
well,
What
the
do they
little
get?
kids don't get anything. The thing go to the grown-ups, and it's up to the grown-ups to manage it, and we'll take care of our own. Just bring this money in and we'll take care of our own. The little kids don't get anything. It'd be for the grown-ups to get this money. Each black American male, okay, and he take care of his family. It's up to him to take care of his family.
Well, how about the mama?
Well, you have to. It's our job to take care of her too. So that's how we would do that. But you couldn't give if you couldn't give a whole family, each one of them, money. They when they get a certain age, maybe
Okay, so every adult black,
male.
not females?
I would say the male.
But what if the woman doesn't have a male, she doesn't get nothing?
That's true, but
I don't think that you're going to make many women friends.
well, what I'm saying is, the black woman been held up in a position. She's in a position. She's okay. Okay.
You think so?
The black male is in trouble. Most of them, if they're not playing professional sports or doing something illegal, they're not up there with the female.
Well, but if he's been having trouble, if that goes to the woman, you know, that's kind of, it leaches out, so to speak.
Right, but you have to be able to take care of your family.
Yeah.
You know, family.
Well, I think anybody 18 and older, male and female, would have to get
Well,
something.
a lot of these 18 and 19-year-olds are not even ready if you gave them $20.
Right,
So you would have to make sure that he's a responsible 18-year-old.
that's true.
But we would have to set it up where the elders would be responsible and show these people, had to set our own board and our own members up, just like the natives have that money in the casinos. We had to set our own board up, not somebody that's going to take the money and leech off of it and not share the money properly and split it properly.
Well, you know, up at Mille Lacs, they have a reservation up there where they got a casino, and they got terrible problem with meth and coke and heroin. They got so much problem on the reservation because everybody gets a check, you know.
Exactly.
That they asked the feds to come in and help them police. They can't handle the crime and stuff that's going on up there because blowing their minds with the meth.
Well, in our community, it would be a little bit different. Because you got groups like the Nation of Islam, the group like what I belong to, the Melanics. You got the Moorish Science Temple. You got the Hebrew Israelites, and we could police our own community. We wouldn't have that problem. If we told them to stop it, it would be stopped.
They're not here in Minneapolis, the Melanics.
We have a few.
A few people, but not groups organized.
Well, you have the Nation of Islam. They could, you know, police the community if we had our own communities.
Are they the guys that sell the newspaper on the corner that I see? Is that the Nation of Islam?
Yes. You know, we had somebody that could police the community. See, that's what I'm saying.
They're always nicely dressed and pretty well groomed, you know, those guys.
Oh, yeah.
Selling newspapers on the corner.
Oh, yeah.
Are they employed by the Nation of Islam? Is that kind of a paying job and they're not going to make any money?
Well, they're making a little money selling the papers.
Well, they're not going to.
But I'm saying if we had our own communities, we had to police our own community, okay? And, you know, govern of our own community, and that's what we need. Other than that, if we don't have our own land, if we're not policing over our own communities, we're never going to get up out of this bind that we're in.
Sure.
See, because everybody is looking for Jesus to pull us out of this rut that we're in. It's not going to happen. People looking for Muhammad. Muhammad cannot get us out of this rut we're in. Like the prophet Timothy Noble Drew Ali said, if I can teach my people how to think, I can teach them how to save themselves. It's about having a thinking mind. So we can have all the religion in the world.
Who was it said that?
Timothy Noble Drew Ali said, if I can teach my people how to think, I can teach my people how to save themselves. So, you know, we're looking for a savior from 2,000 years ago or 3,000 years ago, and it's not going to happen. You got to be able to think to save yourself. And the kids got to be taught. See, a lot of them don't have no training.
Right.
You know, I mean, you have to have common sense.
So what would you have, your own schools or something?
We need our own schools. In the black community, they complaining about, oh, we don't have a proper education. Well, you can't look for your enemy to teach your children. That would just be like me and you getting into it, and I say, well, here's a 45. You know, you're going to shoot me. You're not going to help me. I'm saying...
but the history books that they're teaching the children from is really distorted. You know, I know Bill Cosby's been getting a bad rap lately.
Right.
But he did some real good things along the way. I saw an educational video where he went to a school and spoke about how the kids are being educated with the history books from the white folks.
Right.
And they've really not been telling the truth to them. So he did some good work along the way, but he certainly got himself into trouble, didn't he?
Well, the thing about black people, they've been shaped and molded, and a lot of them don't even know they've been shaped and molded. And so if you've been shaped and molded for 400 years, you've been conditioned. And the conditioned peoples are dead people. And a lot of black people are dead people. So you have to, a lot of my people, half of them, not all of us, but half of them had to be reprogrammed. So if you gave them money, it would be just like a bull in this room. He just go back and forth and hitting his head. So a person that don't know anything about themselves or been conditioned, you could give him money, but he'd kill himself. You had to know what to do with that money. And, you know,
so to join up with one of these groups, Nation of Islam or the Melanics or something like that, where there are people in there that could give them guidance?
We have to come together as one unit, and that's the only way we're going to succeed. Other than
just
that,
the black people.
Well, we had to keep,
no whites allowed.
Well, we had to clean up the whites on top. They got everything. And I'm saying is we had to clean up our house before we can help clean up the whites' house. You have poor white people, okay, but we have to clean up the black house. The black house is very dirty right now. And you know, and a lot of us don't know it. Because you have money don't mean that you're not dirty.
Right.
A lot of our politicians, We got too many punctified politicians. We got too many punctified preachers. We need preachers that's going to stand up and stop taking kickback. We need politicians that's going to stand up and not take kickback.
All right, well, we need earth protectors too.
Oh,
to
yeah.
Take care of the environment and make sure we've got clean water to drink and good air to breathe and decent food to eat.
And a lot of things is, a lot of the black leaders, they keep saying this African-American thing.
Yeah.
You're not going to get any money on this African-American. They didn't take us on that. There's no such people as African-American. Hebrew Israelites are Moors. We're not African-Americans. There's no such people.
They're not from Africa.
Well, everybody didn't come from up. You had black people that was native of this land. I was trying to tell some Native Americans that. You have black people on four corners of the earth, okay? And they said, well, they took us from Africa. They took some from Africa, but that don't mean that's where we come from. You know, we was running from Roman Empire. We Hebrew Israelites, but a lot of black people don't know that they're Jews. These blacks from North America, they're Jews.
Uh-huh.
They're Jews.
Right?
Just like you got white Jews, we got black Jews, and we're Jews. We're special people.
Uh-huh.
You know, yeah, we're Jews.
Well, we ought to